it's Amber, and this is going to be a little bit different kind of video because, it occurred to me I have never really taken the time to introduce my husband and myself and let you know who we are and what we're about and why we do what we do and all that stuff. And I don't know about you, but when I watch somebody on a YouTube channel, it's kind of nice to know a little bit about them. So I thought, why not just let you know who we are, introduce ourselves. So that's what this video is going to be. A lot of you know us already. You know us in person. A lot of you don't. A lot of you just follow our YouTube channel and probably really have no idea who we are or even what all we do or why we do what we do. So I thought I would get into all that. This might be a little bit longer video, so grab a cup of coffee or tea or glass of water and just hang in there for a little bit with us, okay? So as I said, my name is Amber. I am married to Brian. As of January this year, 2025, my husband is a retired pastor. We were in the pastoral ministry for 42 years, I believe it was. Kind of hard to count all the years. I mean, I believe it was around 42 years. 37 of those years were at the same church, same congregation. It's actually the congregation that I grew up in, or at least mostly. We moved to the area when I was a freshman in high school, and that was the church that I attended throughout my youth group. Went to, a lot of the same people who were there then are still there. So I've been a part of that church for about 50 years, off and on. After I married Brian, we pastored in Louisiana and in Alabama and then Ohio. Now we're retired. My husband is now a volunteer clergy with the Billy Graham Association's Rapid Response Team. So whenever there is a natural disaster of some kind, like a fire, tornado, hurricane, flood, we've had all that this year, it seems like, they send out rapid response teams that works alongside Samaritan's Purse to assist the people who are affected by those disasters. That is what he is doing with his time. He's got a lot of other stuff going on. He travels for pleasure too. Something he always wanted to do is travel, and we really couldn't do that a lot in ministry. So he's doing it now in his retirement. He also works security for a Major League Baseball team. He does a number of little things. He just kind of piddles here and there and has fun doing what he wants to do. I am pretty much here on the farm all the time because we have, like I said, we have 3 donkeys, 3 dogs, and a cat. So they need attention, and they need a lot of attention. We have very needy animals. Not really. But yeah, I'm pretty much here doing the farm chores and taking care of what happens here. So that is a little bit about myself. I always forget to talk about myself. It's kind of weird talking about myself, but so I have a really varied background. I like to joke sometimes and say that I dropped out of 5, count them, 5 schools. There's a story. So yeah, I started off out of high school. My goal in life was to be what was then called a commercial artist. Now we call them graphic designers. But I wanted to go into commercial art. So I went to the Central Academy of Commercial Art in Cincinnati. I don't think it even exists anymore. But I went there to study graphic design and work. My goal was to work in advertising, doing ad campaigns for various products, various companies, magazine layouts, that kind of thing. So that was where my heart was, and that's what my goal was, is to work in graphic design and advertising art. I no longer practice any kind of art, really. I mean, other than putting together some kind of a flyer or something on the internet, I don't really do much else with art. I'm still picky about it, though. I still like for things to look good. In the places where I've worked, I've been kind of a stickler about what marketing stuff looks like, because it's just kind of my pet peeve. If you put something out there that represents your business, it better not look tacky. It better look at least semi-professional. do your best. Don't just throw together something tacky. And I've seen that way too much, and I don't like that. So really, really picky about stuff like that. But anyway, that was, a life a long time ago. My goal was to be a graphic designer, is what they call them now. I came to Christ during that time and just kind of felt like I wanted to do something more meaningful. I just couldn't envision myself standing before God one day and giving an account for my life and saying, well, I sold 5 million boxes of laundry detergent from this wonderful ad campaign that I did. Yeah, so what? Now, God needs Christian graphic designers. He absolutely does. Absolutely does. But that just didn't feel right to me. So I went to college. I dropped out of art school, and I went to another art school before that art school. And I found out it wasn't really what I was looking for, so I dropped out of that one. So this is school number 2 now that I dropped out of. And I went to college to major in social work. Didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with social work, but knew I wanted to do something that helped people. So went to Anderson University in Anderson, Indiana to work as a social worker. That is where I met my husband. I met him he was actually the first person I met. I literally went to college and married the first guy I saw. Sure did. Now, it wasn't quite like that, because I didn't like him at first. In fact, I told him a few different times that I really didn't like him. So it took a while for him to grow on me, but he did eventually. So went to be a social worker, went that first year of college, and that summer got out of school for the summer, and the economy was terrible that year, and I had a really hard time finding a job. There just weren't any jobs that year. The economy was rough. I also had a hard time. I didn't want to take out student loans, couldn't get any student aid. Everything was just not in great shape financially at that point. So I didn't have enough money to go back to school the second year. So I called my then boyfriend and told him I'm not going to be able to come back to college. He lived on the other side of the country at that point. And he said, well, that's fine. We'll get married. And I thought he was kidding. He wasn't. So got married. Didn't go back to college, at least not right away. After we'd been married a few years, we had 2 boys. Make this short here, long story short, when my youngest went to kindergarten, I went back to school. We were living in Indiana or Ohio at that time. So I went back to college to finish up my degree, except that I was going to major in psychology. I thought that I wanted to work as a mental health counselor. So I went back to Miami University to get my degree in psychology after my youngest went to kindergarten. So I did that, made it all the way through my senior year. I think the only classes I needed was the senior capstone class and a foreign language, and I could have graduated with my degree. By this time, I had realized I had been working with recovery groups, leading recovery groups, doing different stuff like that. And by that time, I had realized that I just didn't think that was what I really wanted to do. You got it, dropped out of yet another college. So didn't really know what I was going to do. Certainly have used all of the education that I got. I always say I got a better education than a lot of people, because I was older as a student, and when I went to Miami University, I wasn't a typical college kid, and I was there to learn, and I did learn, and I enjoyed learning. I loved going to college and learning stuff. So got a great education, and I certainly have used it, but not in the way that I originally planned. So in our church life, so I just worked odd jobs here and there to bring in a little extra income. Didn't really have a career. I just worked wherever I could, and I've done a lot of strange jobs. most recently, not all of them were strange, most recently I worked as a pet trainer, a dog trainer, using positive reinforcement. So I did that I didn't do that very long before we moved to this location where we're at now. Before that, I worked with 88 Tactical out of Omaha, Nebraska. There was a branch of that in Ohio, and I worked there as a firearms instructor. That was the coolest job. I definitely had a cool girl job because I got to work with the most amazing team of people. My boss was a retired Marine. He had been in the Marine Corps for 25 years. Highly, highly decorated. He had earned the Bronze Star, so many medals, I couldn't even keep up with them all. He trained SWAT all over the country. He had trained the NYPD. I mean, he was the real deal. And the other guys on our team, there were 4 of us, and they were all military guys, SWAT cops, guys who trained SWAT. Our medical guy had been a firefighter for like 25 years. He was the captain of a major city's fire department and had written the curriculum that SWAT used for tactical medicine. I worked with really amazing, talented guys. I was the only female. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Those guys, I could not do what they did. I knew that. They knew that, but they treated me like I could. I have always said I have never been treated with more respect than from those guys. They treated me with the utmost respect. Treated me like a total equal, which I wasn't. I knew it, they knew it, but they treated me like that. I will never forget that. Never forget that. They were amazing. It was so awesome to be able to work with them, learn from them, and yeah, do a little bit of the kind of stuff that they did. So it was an incredible opportunity to work with some amazing people. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Some things I did on the side as a volunteer, I volunteered to lead a chapter of what was then called the Well-Armed Woman. I think now they've changed their name to Armed American Women, or I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure what their new name is, but at that time I was involved in it. It was the Well-Armed Woman. I led the local North Cincinnati chapter of that. I was the state leader. And then I tried out to be the regional training director, regional trainer for that organization. I was selected to do that, and then found out that really probably wasn't what I wanted to do. But anyway, I worked there. I volunteered with them for over 10 years doing that. My church, I was very involved in missions. I led short-term mission trips to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I also ran a nonprofit called Backpacks for Pine Ridge, where we gathered school supplies and backpacks for the children on the reservation. And over the course of years, we took thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies out to the kids on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. Did that, like I said, I think it was, I never count years, but I want to say it was around 11 or 12 years that we did that. Good times. Rough times sometimes, but good times. Really glad I did it. Really glad I'm not doing it now. But it was great. It was an awesome opportunity, awesome experience. So yeah, I served on my church's armed security team, taught Sunday school. I did everything but sing, and trust me, you do not want me to do that. That is a scary, scary, scary idea. So I don't even sing in the congregation because I don't want to scare the people around me. It's pretty bad. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me, a little bit about what we have done, what we're currently doing. When we moved here, I've always been an animal lover. I've had dogs ever since I was a little bitty girl. My first dog was a little poodle with 3 legs named Peggy. But I've always had dogs, always been an animal person. we moved, I'd always wanted a horse. Ever since I was big enough to know what a horse was, I wanted one. And I never really had a place for one. All my family were farmers and they had all kinds of animals. And I spent an awful lot of time with them, but my mom and dad lived in town, so we didn't have a place for a horse. So I would go to my cousins and my grandma's and, play with their horses. But yeah, I always wanted one. When we moved here, there was a horse barn on the property. Yeah. But I'm 63 years old now, and it's just not really practical for me to have a horse. I mean, let's face it, if I fell off a horse at my age, I would be hurt really bad. So decided probably not going to get a horse. So I literally woke up one morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and thought, I want a donkey. I had never thought about having a donkey. I had never had any interest in a donkey prior to this, but I literally woke up, I want a donkey. And I thought, my husband will never go for a donkey. And I mentioned it to him and he said, we could get a donkey. And then I found out you can't have just one, you have to have at least two. So we got two donkeys. We got Wilbur first. He already had his name, so we kept it. And then we got Waylon, and we named him Waylon because where there's a will, there's a way. When we moved here, we bought the property, we were signing the papers, and the people we bought it from asked, are you going to get a horse? And I said, no, not a horse, probably maybe a donkey. And they said, donkeys? People down the road have donkeys. In fact, they have a baby donkey right now that they're looking for a home for. That was Waylon. Yeah. So I really believe that God was in it all. I really believe he led us to the right place at the right time. Everything, come to find out, my veterinarian that I didn't know he was my neighbor. I just called and set up a time to get my dogs in to get their shots and get them established, and found out that he's my neighbor. He's the most awesome veterinarian we have ever had. Amazing, amazing, amazing guy. I will be so sad if he ever leaves. I might follow him. He's really good. So yeah, the guy who cuts our hay and who we buy more hay from is our neighbor. The guy we have our insurance from is our neighbor. This road's only 3 miles long and pretty much everything I need is on it. I believe that's by design. I believe that God knew what he was doing when he put us here. That is just my take on things, okay? I believe that we were led here, had no idea at the time. When we first got our donkeys, we had no intention of doing any kind of business with them. We just got them as pets. Just because it's fun and we can. So we got donkeys. And then we discovered how amazingly therapeutic they are. I mean, they bring so much joy. You can be having the worst day and you can go out there and sit for 5 minutes with them and everything's okay. You can't not smile. You can't not feel good when you're out there with them. They are so therapeutic. And so we thought, well, we'd like to share that with other people. So we started doing the donkey encounters. And then, we do have to charge for it because we do have to have insurance and there are expenses involved in it. So we do charge. But it's our way of sharing some of what God has blessed us with other people. He also, Waylon, our miniature donkey, goes to the senior living center. We don't charge for that. We take him there. The folks that live there love him. They sing "You Are My Sunshine" to him. They love him. Now we have Oliver, the new baby, and he's going to be going to the senior living center next month. So we're going to get him started in that. But yeah, just wanted to find a way to share what we have with other people. So that is kind of where we're at, who we are, why we do what we do. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them my way. Subscribe to the channel. You'll see lots of funny donkey videos, gardening videos, beekeeping videos, sourdough making videos. That's kind of what we do. I make sourdough bread. I garden. I have donkeys and dogs and a cat. I can food. I have bees. I don't really like my bees, but I have them and I try to take care of them. And hopefully we'll get some honey. So that's it. That's where we're at, what we're doing. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email and I will try to answer them. All right? You go make it a good day. I will talk to you soon.